Have you ever experienced a moment where reality just doesn't make sense? Maybe you've seen a strange anomaly, or a slip in time that you can't explain. Or perhaps you've had a surreal encounter that left you questioning the very fabric of existence. Whatever the case may be, we're here to delve deeper into this mystery. Join us as we explore these Reddit stories about creepy and downright terrifying glitches in reality. The first story comes from user statusblueberry3690. This happened December 2021 when I was visiting my parents for Christmas in Paris. I traveled from North Carolina, so there's like a 6-hour time difference. My parents and I were staying in an old hotel for one night in a town I don't remember the name of. It was very, very small, just 2 beds and a bathroom. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of my name being whispered over and over again. It was my nickname, think John from Jonathan, not my real name, and my boyfriend is the one who calls me by it the most often. At the time, I was laying on my side, facing the wall with my back to my parents' bed. I opened my eyes and at first dismissed it to the sound of my parents breathing or a dream I might have came out of. But I kept hearing it, like it never stopped, even after I was fully awake. So I jumped up and looked over my shoulder, and it stopped. I just saw my parents sleeping and I could hear them breathing, which didn't sound like the whispers I'd heard. Creeped out, I just laid back down and tried to ignore what had just happened. 5 seconds later, my phone, that's charging on the small desk at the wall adjacent to the beds, starts ringing very loudly. Now that I think about it, I always put my ringer on silent. I get a shit ton of notifications and I think that's weird. I didn't hear anything other than this call. But anyways, I see my boyfriend is calling me and I was kind of annoyed because he knows about the time difference. But I answered it in case it was an emergency. Long story short, he said he was returning my calls. He received 2 FaceTime calls from me 1 minute prior, but couldn't answer since he was showing his friend something on his phone. After he hung up, I checked my outgoing calls and sure enough, I tried to FaceTime him twice. It still gives me chills and neither my boyfriend nor I have an explanation for it. At the same moment I woke up to hearing my nickname being whispered, my boyfriend was getting FaceTime calls from me. I wonder what he'd see if he had answered. This is a shorter encounter by user Sergio A127. This happened a little while ago, but I just remembered it. I was laying in bed on top of my blanket, just scrolling through Instagram or Reddit while I was playing with my pen with my other hand. I dropped the pen and I heard it hit the wooden floor and I started looking for it, but I couldn't find it. I knew for a fact it landed on the floor because of the sound it made. I looked everywhere, then I looked under my blanket and pillows, and my pocket, then I gave up. I continued scrolling on Instagram for a while, and the pen just dropped from the ceiling onto my chest. Anyone else have an experience like this? This next story comes from user Celesphere. My daughter and I went to Albuquerque for a conference a few years ago. I was trying to find a place to go eat dinner. There was tons of traffic and road construction. Really frustrating driving conditions. I had the GPS going finally to a restaurant and we were starving, so we were constantly checking the ETA. Like 15 minutes more to dinner. Anyways, at around 5 minutes till, we were due to arrive. I was driving over a bridge area. Traffic was still very heavy. I glanced quickly at the GPS and it was spinning. I told my daughter, look. She saw it spin, looked back at traffic. Only a second had passed, but we were now 30 minutes from the restaurant. Car going another way, and no sign of the bridge anywhere. I'm freaked out anytime I think of this, and my daughter remembers it the same. When we hear a strange story, one of us will say, like that time we teleported. I don't know what to make of it, but we were not happy about the extra time to get to the restaurant. The next story comes from user K. Hampson. My son, 8, and I, 42, were in his bedroom reading a story before bedtime. I had my back to the door and was reading a children's bedtime story to my almost asleep son, when I heard from behind me my dad's voice calling my name. It startled me as we were home alone. I turned around quickly to see my dad just around the corner heading down the stairs. I only saw the back of him, and only for a split second, but I knew it was him. I called out to him, but he didn't answer. I got up and quickly followed him as I rounded the corner to the stairs and saw him in a side profile just turning the corner at the bottom of the stairs into the kitchen. I called out to him again, but still no answer. I was so confused. I headed quickly down the stairs to catch up to him, but as I rounded the corner into the kitchen, in an almost run at this point, he wasn't there. I ran through the kitchen into the living room, but the house was empty, totally quiet. Now I was more than confused. I checked the entire house, checked the front and back doors, which were both still locked up tight. I called my dad on the phone and he answered straight away, and he was at home, 4 miles away, and hadn't left all evening. I was fully awake, I hadn't been drinking, and have never taken any mind-altering drugs. I have carbon monoxide alarms in the house, which I test weekly, so it's not that. I have no explanation for this, and I'm struggling to come up with any. Can anyone help? The last story is from user Bread Lucky. I experienced this glitch a few months back. This is a relatively short story, but still creeps me out to this day because of how certain I am of it. On to the story. So, I was working in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a travel job where I would stay in hotels throughout the week and then travel home for the weekend. I got off at 5 as per usual, and before I got to the Pennsylvania Turnpike, I stopped at a mom and pop style gas station to fuel up for the trip home. Got my gas, went in, paid for it, and headed for the Turnpike. I drove for maybe 2.5 hours before I decided I was going to pull off and get a quick bite and use the bathroom. I punched in my GPS to the nearest gas station and headed to it, and I swear to God I pulled into the exact same mom and pop gas station. I walked in to get a burger and almost fell over. I was so freaked out. Finished up in the station, walked out to the truck, and my GPS reflected I was in the same spot. It's 2.5 hours of driving completely erased as it was after 7. I should have been halfway home. The only logic I have is that I fell asleep at the station, but surely someone would have woken me up if I was there that long. I remember the drive and the gas in my truck reflected I'd been driving. It's my only glitch, and it still baffles me. I hope you enjoyed learning about these strange and unexplained phenomena that have been reported by the people of Reddit. From deja vu to time slips, it's clear that our understanding of the universe and our place within it is far from complete. I want to thank you for watching and encourage you to share your own experiences with glitches in reality in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. This lets me know that you're interested in this kind of material and want to see more of it. And as always, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of the universe. I'll see you in the next video.